You know, being a lawyer and sitting on trustee boards or investment committee boards for my clients, I am in a position to observe the impact actually of quarantine and how this changes, their perception and their investment projects, okay? So what I can see is a couple of, let's say, phenomena. First one, obviously a renewed interest into real assets. In their asset allocation model, traditionally the big families, the big private groups have a box, I would say, for real assets. But now, because of the uncertainty, some concern about the future, this is clearly an asset class which is favored. So by real assets, I mean land, real estate, gold, or even companies with a very strong balance sheet. So this is the first thing I can see. The second, and maybe because people are a little bit depressed by the environment, they are looking for, I would say, fancy or hobby investments. And to give you an example, because we are very much involved at Gordon Blair with that, we are looking for people who want to invest in football clubs, for instance, and because it's something which is may not be a bad investment, but which is a bit like a hobby. Racing teams, Formula One, again, being based in Monaco, which is one of the capitals of Formula One, people interested in investing in those racing teams. So I see a lot of interest into, again, what I call hobby investments. And this is new. And maybe we can see it as a consequence of the depressing environment. Then maybe more seriously, people, again, being concerned by the evolution of the global economy, the level of debt, and being afraid of, let's say, development of inflation, and which is, again, a big question mark. Will inflation will it be a way of reimbursing the huge debts? So people are looking for, or families are looking for protection against inflation. So to some extent, investing in real assets is an answer to that, obviously, but also looking for, again, companies where we will be positioned or we will be protected against inflation. So big companies with very strong brand names, companies being established in the market where the barrier to entry is very high, etc. So this is clearly, again, in their asset allocation analysis and investment decisions, this is something which is important. Protection against the risk of inflation, which everybody sees as rising. And again, I'm not an investment advisor. Simply, I'm sitting on boards and committees, and I can see this topic coming again and again. And the last element, which I can also mention, is the matter of liquidity. You know that over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, there is always this matter of the trading, I would say, more return against less liquidity and vice versa. And here again, maybe because of the uncertainty, because of this crisis, surrounding us, people or families are less keen investing over the very long term, because they don't see how the long term will evolve. And here again, as an observer, I can see that investment programs spanning 10, 15 years are less, there is less appetite for them. And what I can see is a lot of appetite for shorter term programs, like 5 years typically. Obviously, not full liquidity. Everybody knows that with full liquidity, you don't get a return. But not something too long, because again, you don't know how this is going to pan out. And a lot of interest for shorter term investment programs and with exits, private equity deals with exits being already planned for not more than 5 years, or this kind of thing, or even smart beta funds. Again, exploiting this, and again, with lock-up periods, we can be as long as 5 years, but with some kind of guarantee for exiting in 5 years. So it is something which is new here again. Less appetite for long-term investments, and again, something more short-term. So this is what I see currently with my clients. We are, and forgive my jargon, but it's typical lawyer jargon, we are a multidisciplinary law firm. But typically, a multidisciplinary law firm is organized along, let's say, technical departments. So you have the tax department, you have the immigration law department, you have the international private law department, you have the social law department. We are organized differently. We are organized around what we call know-how departments. Okay, we are looking at the episodes, which are the big situations where a family or an individual has to make a decision, which may be marriage, divorce, succession planning, setting up a private investment fund, setting up a family office, or setting up a trust structure. So we are organized along those episodes, I would say. And our people are specialized, I would say, in those situations. And obviously, they can bring to bear skills, technical skills, in various disciplines. But again, if you come to me and you say, I want to set up a trust structure, I will, again, I have a partner who does that, all of his time, who is a specialist in setting up trust and foundations, and we will have recourse to other specialists. So this is this, let's say, holistic approach we have, which is very special, but more than an approach, I repeat, it is an organization model, again, and we have know-how departments instead of, let's say, technical departments. And obviously, this has a bearing on what we do for our clients. So not only do we advise and recommend, let's say, comprehensive solutions, but once we have done that, we're in a position to execute and implement, precisely because we're organized along this way. So we don't tell our clients, okay, if you want to do that, go and talk to a tax lawyer. And then you will have to go and talk to, I don't say, financial regulation lawyer. And then you will have to go and talk to, no, we say, okay, we are going to take care of everything. We'll take care of, let's say, monitoring and the coordination between the various professionals, and we will take all those worries, I would say, off your shoulders. This is the key word, taking the worries of our clients off their shoulders, and delivering, to some extent, the key-in-hand solutions. So, and again, this is also a consequence of our form of organization. So I think this is what makes Gordon Blair quite special. So.